United's high press issues are due to three main reasons. Firstly, poor positional intelligence from the front three, then the lack of central protector, and lastly, the confused back three, which don't know when to step up and when to stay in the back lane. In this sequence, the striker is pressing the center back, so one of the center midfielders has to mark opposition center midfielder, but Bruno tries to track back. Now space is open to progress further due to higher positioning of far side winger, who should actually tuck into the midfield when the ball is on his opposite side. Two center midfielders can't cover the whole pitch, so half spaces are vulnerable. Now right center back should jump on the ball carrier as he has enough cover, but he stays deep. This gives time and space for the ball carrier. Multiple failures of press forces United to an aggressive reactive mode, where every pass was closed down desperately. But opposition easily beats all those uncoordinated late pressing movements, and this means United is totally out of position, leading to a flat and stretched back five against 6 attackers. Just look at the condition of Manchester United's defensive block. Total chaos. From there, it was just two passes to access the space behind, and it ended up in goal after a keeper blunder. Let's get into the details now. United has a 3-4-3 shape out of possession, with double pivots covering opposition center midfielders. The inverted wingers has the double duty of covering the half spaces and keeping the opposition fullback under control. Even a minute mispositioning can open up the half space for the advanced attackers to equip, especially when the double pivots are pinned centrally by opposition. Amorin is trying to defend the half space players by pushing the centre backs up. Here, the striker drifted from the center to the half space, so the left centre back was late to read this movement. Though United managed the situation, there was a temporary panic, forcing both pivots to react. The overcommitment from right centre midfielder free space in the center for the opposition left centre midfielder to attack. Backline is threatened and has lost their shape a bit. Sequence ended with yet another goal as right wing back failed to defend the left winger. The idea of centre backs stepping out to close down player in between the lines may result in double marking the same player. This obviously leaves space behind the centre back, but the situation can be avoided if there is proper press from the front three. Here the striker is in a 2v1 underload. Usually the deepest midfielder will be marked by defending team's attacking midfielder, and the centre midfielder will mark the dropping players in advanced zones. But here it is the centre midfielder doing the duty of attacking midfielder. The centre back has to cover the half space, so a quick fix is pushing the winger to press the centre back while keeping the fullback in his cover shadow. Meanwhile, the striker should cover the deep midfielder. This allows the centre midfielder to equip the half spaces. Though winger has gone up, the flank protection can be done by the wingback. This ensures that centre backs are not drawn too much into the opposition half, leaving the back lane exposed. Here winger is tasked to stay in the half space, but it's no use. A technically good centre back can easily manipulate him as there is no pressure on him. The right winger's positional responsibilities can be utilized with this approach, and the centre back played to the same space the winger was trying to guard. In an ideal scenario, winger should be blocking this passing lane to force a pass to the fullback, and this can be defended by the wingback. The centre back can be in his position, but here the centre back is in the midfield doing nothing. He just left a large gap for opposition to exploit, and all this was due to the tactical failure of Amorin's front three. Let me show you another similar situation where United stick on to the same pressing approach. When centre back gets the ball in space, he has the same area available to progress as the winger is moving away, allowing a large space for the centre back. It's clear that the winger is asked to do so. His duty in the system is to stay in the half space instead of pressing. This can be exploited again by playing to the advanced right half space as they did in the previous sequence due to the higher position of centre back in opposition half. The lack of a central protector makes the backline vulnerable in the system. There is no zoner protection. Instead, pivots man marks the opposition. The centre backs move out of position to protect the centre, leaving holes in the backline. With attackers making movements, backline can be easily pinned. If the pivot is manipulated to press high, space will be available as the backline cannot move up. Now we have a different sequence, but the same Manchester United out there. Centre back has the ball, and pivot is threatened by half space occupation. So he leaves his man to cover the threat. He asks the centre back to step up, but another centre threat pins the central centre back, Maguire, deep into his position. Maguire is asking the midfielder to mark the attacker as he can't move up by leaving a hole in the middle. The player received the ball two times in the heart of United midfield as the Red Devils were helpless. Though it didn't create any dangers, the constant occurrence of such incidents will eventually drain the defenders both physically and mentally, leading to defensive blunders. Now let's see how the three reasons for United's bad press, as we mentioned at the beginning, led to an easy goal. Firstly, passive pressure on the ball, as the striker is out wide after getting a knock. Striker gets back, still no pressure from him. At the right side, we have a free player between the lines. The ball carrier's body orientation is to the United's right, so the right midfielder and the centre back both tried to close down the same man, leaving a hole in the back lane. The system demands the centre back to push up, and it ultimately paid the price for it as the wing back failed to track the runner and conceded a cheap goal. Many such sequences occurred with no pressure on the ball, a player in the half space dragging the centre back out for the winger to attack the space. United were easily manipulated, and this forced the wing back to often get in 1v1 situations, tiring him mentally and physically. Amorim should not let this happen again and again, as it has become an easy road for opposition to enter United's defensive third. Before concluding, let's see how pressing with a single striker disrupted the whole pressing setup. The sequence happened at the beginning of the second half, with players in full energy after the half-time break. As the ball is played back to keeper, the front three makes quick runs to press. The striker is easily bypassed using a third-man pattern, which ended up in the flanks. The press is broken, and the ball is switched again to attack the back lane. Opposition was toying with United's badly organized press from the front three. They were easily manipulated, having no idea of how to stop the ball circulation, which is a serious issue and has to be solved by the team.